Hey motivators, it's Drostan here. Yeah, we had I had an excellent conversation with Chris at Anytime Fitness. I will warn you that the camera that was on him got like majorly blown out, and because I'm not a very good colorist, I wasn't really able to save it entirely. But yeah, so that's why that looks like that. But enjoy the video.
Well, I was told there was going to be hair and makeup. So.
Well, it's kind of a low budget sort of deal here.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, where do you want to start? Sorry.
Anyway, I don't know why I'm doing that. Hey motivators, it's Drostan here. I'm joined by Chris. He's the owner of this lovely gym here. And
Yes.
yeah, so Chris, tell us who you are.
Well, you got my first name, so that's good. But yeah, no, my wife and I opened up this gym about 2 years ago. We own 2 locations,
Okay.
and we're pretty passionate about community, about people, and obviously fitness is going to be a big part of that.
I would hope so.
Yes, right. If you're going to open a gym, you should probably care about fitness a little bit.
Like a smidgen.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
So you've been doing this for about 2 years, as an owner at least.
Yeah, as an owner for 2 years. My background's really not in fitness, actually. It's a lot of corporate positions, instructional design, specifically corporate training.
Okay.
I was a corporate trainer for some large banks for a really, really long time, and loved that. And it's fun because your life path, a lot of times I've found that what you do and experiences in the past can build on each other. And this is, it's a pretty seamless transition from what I was doing, designing, training, a little bit different, into one, running a business, but 2, just being able to create training and coax people through it, and that informational, the way you communicate.
Right.
Those skill sets translate so well into what I'm doing right now. So it's been kind of fun to be able to see how that builds on each other.
Okay, that would make sense. I guess we can start really with, what is health to you? Like, when you think of health, what do you think of?
Gosh, when I think of health, I think of health to me is a lot of different things, right? It could be mental, it could be spiritual, it could be physical, and the physical side of it can be nutritional, or like, your muscle and body fat,
Right.
and all of that kind of stuff. So I think it can be a lot of things. But typically speaking, health is the absence of, or pulling away from things, or the prevention of things like injuries or sicknesses and like diseases. So it's that separation, or the exclusion of those things. And that applies to any of the areas that I had mentioned.
Okay, so
That's a long answer, I know.
no, you're fine. I'm still like mildly sick. No, I'm not like sick or contagious, but it's just like it's going way longer than I anticipated. So it's
But what a great
killing me.
example of it, right? Is you're not feeling healthy right now, or at least at peak health. And why?
Right.
It's because you're feeling a little bit sick.
Right.
So you apply that to all of the other areas. Is, I'm not feeling healthy. Well, what does that look like? Or I'm feeling healthy. The result of that is I do not have X, or I feel better than I did, meaning I'm moving away from the tiredness or the laziness or the inability to breathe when I go up or downstairs, right? Like those types of things, applying to what we're sitting in a gym from the health side of things, and then the mental side of it, I think is really important too.
Okay. So obviously you have a focus on health.
Yeah.
Right? I think your long answer here kind of helps describe that.
Fair.
Where exactly do you fit in other people's health, would you say?
Well, other people's health, I think we exist, or at least my personal passion in this space is to partner with other people in their health and in the health journey.
Right.
So my goal is to meet anybody where they're at And man, we get a lot of different beginnings here, right? People are approach coming into the gym from all different avenues of life, in different stages and variations of health. And so my job is to be able to ask questions, to be able to understand where you're coming from, understand where you're trying to go to, and then how can we partner to help you achieve that. So hopefully that answers it, but that's really kind of where I see us fitting in terms of health.
I think it does. I know we've talked, and you have a big emphasis on making or dissuading like gymtimidation or gym intimidation, if you want to call it that way. Can you kind of describe a little bit more about that, like kind of your thought process, your philosophy?
Absolutely. I think gym anxiety is another way to put it.
That would be another good term.
Right? I think that's a big thing. We've had people actually that pull up to the front of our building, sit in their car, stare at the front door, sit there for a long time, and then drive away. And this is like they've got an appointment scheduled. Like they got to the point where they're actually like, okay, I'm going to schedule an appointment. Their next step is I'm going to drive to the gym. I'm just going to stare at it for a little bit. I'm going to go away, and then I'll reach out to them. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that was the person, not fully aware if they were or not. They're like, yeah, I'm sorry, I came, but I just had to leave. And and it's just one of those things that taking that step is, I think the weight of what it means to step into a gym can feel a little overwhelming at times. So that's one aspect of it, because it means I actually need to make a change. That's a big ask for a lot of people, and that can be pretty scary. It can be scary, I think, for a couple of reasons. One, I've never been to a gym before, right? So that's going to be one. Well, now you have.
I have been now.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
At one time.
Yeah, fair. We'll put you through a workout later.
Okay.
So one, maybe I've never stepped into a commercial gym or even a smaller private gym. Doesn't matter. I haven't been into the space, so I don't know what to expect. The other is the stereotypical. Everybody in there is on steroids and they're way stronger than me. And
they're all just
exactly. They're all shirts off and looking in the mirror and all of this kind of stuff. And so there's the intimidation factor there too. Is I don't match up, and there's actually I've had people tell me this before. Is Chris, I'd like to join the gym, but I just need to make sure that I get my physical well-being to a place where I can actually do that. It's like they need to prep to be able to come in, and we're missing this is the area to do all of that, to actually start your journey. So there's intimidation from all kinds of, and anxiety that comes with that from all different avenues.
Yeah, I definitely had that experience of like, well, I got to be in the right place. I got to get a little better. And then once I'm a little better, then I can go.
Right.
Like I had that for several years. Granted, my situation is a little different with injuries, but there are plenty of people who do share injuries or have other things where they were fit at one time and then they get out of it and they're like,
Correct.
It's difficult. It's hard. It's hard to do. But how would you say that somebody's perception, just in general, kind of relates to that? And I'll give you some context.
Yeah.
So in the episode with Andrew, who Andrew, that's actually how we met.
Absolutely. He's an okay guy.
He's all right. Don't tell him I said that. But I mean, frankly.
He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's great. But we kept talking about, or we kept coming to the point of somebody's perception and how, like when I was in the Marine Corps, I had the lesson was drilled into me that perception is reality. It doesn't matter what is real; it's what people perceive or what they think is real is what's real.
Yeah.
But how would you say that kind of fits into the I'm scared to come to the gym sort of situation?
Yeah, so I'll share a story to kind of start that. There was this really sweet member that was doing some really interesting exercises in here, just some tough stuff, like more body weight stuff, handstands, different things, and mentioned to me, I bet you're always seeing me do all of these weird things and you're thinking I'm crazy. It's like, no, actually, I hadn't noticed.
Well, maybe, but
like, no, you know, like
Right.
it's one of those things that there is a perception of everybody's going to be looking at me or paying attention to me when I'm doing something, and they're going to be judging, and your perception is your reality, but that's not necessarily gym culture overall. I'm not
Right.
just for this gym, but I think by and large, most spaces that you go into, people care about themselves and what they're doing, and they're into that, and they're not really paying attention to what you're doing.
People are selfish.
People are
When it comes to the gym, they're kind of
selfish.
They're focused on their own thing. They got their own stuff going on.
But I will say though, the other side of it is I do also believe that the community by and large is a lot more supportive than your perception might lead you to believe.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to do something and you're unsure, ask somebody, and most of the time, they're going to be thrilled that you asked and really willing to help.
Perfect, let's go.
Like, yeah, like
I've been wanting you to ask me this for like 3 weeks because I see you struggling.
I've been rehearsing my lines and like, come on, let's do it. So they love it. And really they do. And actually the bigger, like more intimidating person in the gym is usually like the teddy bear. Like they just love to help.
I've noticed that as a common theme. The more I'm doing these type of interviews or discussions with people on that do go to the gym regularly, they're all like, their favorite thing of coming to the gym, so far the 2 that I've asked have all said, my favorite thing is to see the fat people, which kind of sounds crass and rude, but I know what they mean. They mean the people that need to be there, the people that want to be there and are making a change, and they just enjoy seeing that. Yeah. And I think that speaks really well to what you're saying here about that people just want to help. Like they're not trying to judge you, and even if they are, it's probably because you are probably about to hurt yourself, or they think that you might be about to hurt yourself, and they're kind of like, whoa, hey, kind of keep an eye on you. So if you do hurt yourself, I can hook a brother up. There
is definitely unsolicited, unnecessary, unrequested advice that can be given sometimes. And in those times, it's just kind of a polite like, hey, thanks so much for sharing. And yeah, I think I've got it from here kind of a thing, or maybe your reaction's a little bit more extreme, but that absolutely can happen. I think that's not the norm though. And the norm is what you just pointed out. If somebody does approach, it's usually like, hey, do you mind if I just like help you with that movement, because they know you're at a potential risk for injury here. And
I've done that before, and I have had whatever issue. I don't want you to go through that.
Correct. Yeah. So it's looking out for you more than anything. I think most of the time, at least I'm kind of more of that. I see the good in people, or expect the good versus the ill intent. And I like to approach life that way. Yeah, but I find that that's oftentimes the case. Obviously, there are exceptions to that. There are. There are people who are just kind of mean. We'll put it nicely, put it charitably, that don't care. This is a family show, right? So, yeah. Yeah. Mostly. Mostly, okay. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so I guess we'll just keep going down this theme of new people and kind of that welcoming experience. What about your gym specifically sets other gyms apart, that like newcomers are welcome and like you belong here? A lot of what we've talked about in kind of roping back to the partnering, finding a way to partner, I think is kind of what sets us apart. When somebody comes in here, our goal, and the reason that my wife and I even opened this location to begin with, was to our mission statement, actually it's built into our mission statement, is to build community that impacts community, right? We want to be beyond ourselves, and one of the ways that we can kind of do that is in the building community here first, that's then impacting outside of the community, is when you come in, we're going to set you up with something that's called a member onboarding. The member onboarding is designed around learning who you are, understanding who you are. So we do that through a body composition scan to be able to understand where's your biometrics right now, your full body composition, where's the starting place. Then we can dive into, well, what are your goals? Where are you hoping to get this? And based upon all of those data points, then we can say, okay, well, here's some things that we should be looking at, whether that's nutrition, whether it's the style of training that you're doing. For example, we get a lot of people that will come in that's, I want to lose weight, and all they're doing is walking on the treadmill. That's only going to get you so far, right? So how can we best approach it from a nutritional standpoint, from a workout standpoint, and how can we partner with you to really get you on the right path? So I think the support that you receive here is what sets us apart. We're not just a gym where we want you to come in and get lost in. We want to get to know you. We want to understand what your goals, your aspirations are, and help you achieve those. Now, if you come in and you're like, Chris, look, I'm good. I just need a space to work out, then cool. I'm always going to fist bump you and say hello, and like that's going to be fun, and we'll support you from that standpoint. But if you are unsure, we want to be able to be the ones to help build a foundation and get you on your journey.
Okay.
And that's really important to us.
So I've been having a thought. I have those sometimes. Kind of a recurring thought of communal health is communal. Like everything, what you do affects other people,
Yes.
both in your health and your social thing and your business, everything. And especially when you talk about the way you see health, or as a gym owner approaching health with your members, is from that of a building a relationship, having a partnership in order to maintain that. And I mean, I really resonate with that. Obviously, that's why we're doing this conversation. It's that we have a very similar mindset on how we go about things.
I think that speaks to what I had mentioned earlier with building a community that impacts community. What's the community that we're impacting?
Mm-hmm.
We can look at that from a lot of different ways. We try to, we do a lot of like canned food drives and backpack drives and different things to give to charities, and that's not good. Oh, both died. I thought they were fully charged.
Oh well.
So I think the lighting's still not bad.
No, that's probably fine.
Okay.
We'll figure it out. I'll fix it in post.
Fix it in post, please. Yeah. But community, where was I going with that? Oh, community. So we do various drives, right? So we do various drives to be able to help charities. But the other part, and what you're touching base on, I think is so vital, is when somebody sees results in the gym, no matter where it is, in their own personal life, people notice that. That's inspirational stuff. Mm-hmm. That can be life-changing as well. And I'm not trying to be dramatic with that, but like literally people's lives are transformed, and that can be even a generational impact potentially, where their kids are seeing it and they're inspired and the family's inspired, or we had a son that was in here that's really competitive with his dad, and naturally, as you should be. And the dad was inspired to be able to transform his life, right? So it doesn't matter how old or how young you are, when you take a step and you're dedicated to it, that can impact the community around you. And that's just a beautiful thing. I love that. Like, that's what gets me up in the morning and excited to be able to get in here and do what I do. Is I know that that's possible. Right. But it starts here. Right, it starts with our members.
All right, so let's go back to the newbies, the noobs.
Love the noobs.
See. Yeah, they're everybody's favorite.
Absolutely.
They're fun to poke fun. No, I'm kidding. You don't poke fun at them. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Part of the gym intimidation.
Yeah,
you were
I know.
talking
I'm
about.
I'm a horrible influence. Don't listen to me.
We'll fix that in post too.
Listen to Chris.
Yeah.
But so, say somebody who's never really exercised before, they've never been active. Not just like, oh, I go and pick up heavy things and put them down. Like they're a couch potato. They don't do anything. What would you suggest to them to kind of find the thing that they enjoy that would make them want to either come to the gym or go for walks or pick up running, heaven forbid?
Yeah, it's not my thing, but yeah. It's my wife's thing. She loves running. So.
Yeah, anyway,
That's a different conversation.
Stop there.
Yep.
Before we go down a horrible rabbit hole. But how do you go about working with a new member of kind of trying to figure out what they want and what they will enjoy and how they should go about doing that?
Yeah, so there's lots of different sections to any gym that you're at. There's the free weight section, the cardio section. There's usually some actual machines we call selectorized machines, and hopefully there's some sort of like functional training area as well that allows you to do a lot more body weight, calisthenic, like different movements. And what we like to do is explore all of the areas with a new member. And that does start with what is your primary goal and what have you tried in the past. And if they're like, I've tried nothing ever, like no idea, then great, like let me put you through a little bit of a workout and let's see, do you like it? Like what's fun? Also, I think as much as social media is I have various opinions on, and especially when it comes to fitness.
It's interesting. Yeah, we'll leave it there.
There is some incredible advice that you can find on social media,
Oh, yeah.
like just some really powerful stuff, inspirational stuff. But then there's a lot of stuff that's like, well, it worked for you, it doesn't. That's not necessarily the way that it works for everybody. And so we have to be careful with it. But the reason I bring up social media is because researching it, there might be something where it just piques your interest, like, I kind of want to try that, right? Maybe you're watching a power lifter and you realize, my goodness, I want to be able to lift that huge tractor tire. Like that's my goal in life.
Strongman, let's go.
Exactly, to do something like that. Or you see Olympic lifting, or you see calisthenics. You see people doing like muscle ups, and you're like, that's
impressive.
Incredible. Right.
How do you do that?
How do you do that? And it starts with that is, if you're attracted to something, let's explore it and let's go after it. And that might ignite something that helps fuel a drive to get somewhere.
Right.
And if you're not a social media person and you don't really know, we have team training classes. Come and try that. Different variations of it. We have a burn class that is more HIIT style, high intensity interval. Maybe that's your thing. We have a build class that's a little slower, like building muscle, and maybe lifting heavy weights, that's your thing. So just explore would be my advice to them, and try.
Yeah.
Try it. Like, at least you're doing something, you're moving, and as you have questions, ask. We don't want you to get injured, but try, have fun. The gym really should be a place where you have fun as much as it is you're gonna experience sore muscles and you're gonna get tired and you're not always gonna wanna do it. There should be an element of fun to it. And come on, you're doing a lot better than you give yourself credit. So you're on a journey, my friend.
I gotta keep it on the DL, you know, because if I let it,
you don't want people to know.
Yeah, nobody should know what's going on here.
No.
Clearly, nobody knows. So now that we're okay, so let's say you haven't gone to the gym yet still, but you've taken your advice and you're like, you know what, I really want to try this, whatever that is. Let's just go with the example of powerlifting, because I do primarily powerlifting type stuff, and it's the best. I'm kidding.
I'm more of like an athletic calisthenics, like I love that stuff. But I do a mix of the powerlifting, and it's so much fun.
I enjoy the powerlifting. I prefer the like aesthetic, like the body aesthetic of the calisthenics, but I just don't enjoy doing calisthenics.
Yeah.
At all. It just makes me think of boot camp. Like I just
There you
don't want to do it. No.
Yep.
Yeah. Vietnam flashback.
Everybody's different.
But so you've decided. All right. I've been watching Alan Thrall's Untamed Strength on YouTube.
Okay.
Yep. And former Marine. Let's go.
Yeah.
But
shout out. Yeah.
Shout out. You're not watching, but if you are, hi Alan. I like you.
Do a collab.
Well, I have to go to Sacramento.
Oh,
anyway,
okay, fair.
But let's say I really want to do powerlifting. How would you recommend somebody who's not necessarily in the Kansas City area to like find a gym that would really cater to either powerlifting specifically or just them as a person?
Yeah, so most gyms offer trials, so that's one way to start. No matter where you're going, usually they'll give you a day pass, or usually a day pass is pretty cheap, or a free trial if you're looking to actually join. And those are great ways to just go test out communities and see if it's the right fit for you. In anytime fitness, you have the ability to do pretty much any style that you're looking for the most part. But there are niche communities that are pretty incredible for powerlifting specifically, right? Where you walk in there and you start doing it, you meet the people, they're giving you advice, you're going to see the community aspect, and hopefully you're seeing some growth in what you're trying to pursue. If calisthenics is your thing, then there's a bunch of gyms that you can go do that at, right? Like there's lots of really fun places that you can find. So I would say just explore, just test them out. You don't really know until you go. So I guess step number one, go.
Go, right.
Yep.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Yep. Sponsored by Nike. I don't think I'm wearing Nike.
I am not. I'm wearing like Chinesium shoes.
Yep. Got to do the fit check. So we actually didn't start with that. We always should, but throw that out for a little bit later episode.
What is that?
A fit check. You know, what's your fit? You've never done a fit check before?
I've never heard of this before. All right, do tell.
Okay, so I'm not the right person because I don't really usually care what I wear. But this is a popular social media thing. It's always like the fit check, like, oh, let me do a quick fit check. So you know, like the guy that stands out that he stands out to me because I think it's so funny that he, of all people, does this. It's the pizza review guy. You know who I'm talking about? Dave, I don't remember his last name.
Portnoy?
Portnoy, however you pronounce it.
I think that's it.
In a lot of his videos, he'll do, okay, let me do a quick fit check. I'm wearing whatever he's wearing. And then I was like,
oh, I didn't know that's what they called that.
Why does anybody care? I don't know.
I kind of watch some of the like menswear type people, like what's it called? The guy's name is Anthony. He's another Marine.
Okay.
I don't exclusively watch Marines. It just happens.
It's kind of sounding like it.
It just happens to be that I watch a lot of Marines. Yeah. Crap. What are they called? Okay, I'll insert it somewhere. I'll put. I'll even link his channel. I don't care.
You're not going to point to the bottom right corner? Okay, right. Yeah, below.
Right here. Real Man, Real Style, I think is what it is.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's it. But I completely lost where I was going with that because I got distracted on what his name was.
So you would think that a fit check would be like short for fitness, right?
Oh no, they'll or actually, Real Man Real Style isn't really one that does it. The Gentleman's Gazette does this a lot. At the end of all of their videos, they always will do like, and this is the outfit that I'm wearing today. Of
that's a fit check, bro.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Yep.
They just don't call it that. They just that's just what they do. They'll describe like, oh, if they're wearing a hat or their stuff. So that's what it made me think of. That's what it was.
That's what I'll
still link Real Men Real Style.
There we go.
And Gentleman's Gazette. Why not?
Oh, why not? All of the above.
All of them.
And maybe Barstool Sports too for the Dave Portnoy. No. Okay. Well, you know.
Yeah. Whatever.
We'll skip that one.
He's popular enough. He doesn't need my help.
He does not. Nope. And I don't think he's a Marine, so you probably don't want him.
No. I don't believe he was.
I have no idea, man.
I don't know.
I just care about the pizza.
I don't care. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
That's a whole different conversation. We could talk nutrition if you want.
Yeah, that segues great into nutrition. Go right ahead.
Awesome.
What you got?
Well, what do you want to know?
So I don't know how much you kind of watched any of the channel before, but I focus primarily on a low carb type lifestyle, and specifically carnivore, just because I'm simple and I'm really carnivore is the easiest for me to understand and just kind of go with it. I don't have to think, does this have carbs in it?
Right.
No, it doesn't.
Nope. It's meat.
It's meat. Milk and cheese, yes, it does have carbs, but it's not enough for me to care.
Yeah.
So okay. I just eat it and be happy.
Yep. You're getting the healthy fats with it too.
Yes.
So that's all good.
Yes. What do you have kind of a preferred nutrition I don't know, style, I guess you could call it?
So in terms of like my personal nutrition, it's just standard macros. Like I'm just looking at depending on where I'm at. Let's say that I was entering a bulk, I know I'm going to be a surplus or maintenance, or I'm at a deficit, calorie deficit, because I'm trying to cut, whatever it might be. That's all that I focus on. I focus mainly on the total caloric intake and protein are like the two areas that I focus in the most personally.
Okay.
And then your carbs and your fats kind of fall into line if I'm focused on the calorie side of it. But there are certain times where, especially for somebody who's trying to see like definition and being very specific about what they're looking for, where you really need to track very precisely. And that's where the different macros of your protein, your carbs, and your fats really come into play. But for the standard person, for the vast majority of people out there, if you're just focusing on your total calories and making sure that you're staying within the proper range depending on your goal, and you're focusing in on the protein, I would say, then I think you're doing pretty good. Like, that's a great place to start. But no, I don't have anything specific. I've got family that's done the carnivore diet, swear by it. They're like, it's just amazing. It's transformed my life. Being a little dramatic there, but it has. Like, they've seen some big
I've seen
results.
people who have definitely are 100% all for it.
Yes.
So,
and like different inflammation and even diseases that somebody might have struggled with seem to go away with that diet. So I think that there's some great validity to it, but I personally have not tried it.
Okay. Do you have like I'm assuming for clients and stuff that you do like consulting with, you would also kind of recommend the macros type approach?
Yeah, so in our body's composition scan, based upon what your primary fitness goal is that you select before the scan starts, it will shoot out the recommendation based upon your age, your gender, your body weight, the full body composition. Here's what you should be at for it, and because it's able to read and understand what your like total energy expenditure, your TEE is, like how many calories you expend in a day, and then it can recommend here's the range that you should be in for your calories based upon your goal. Whether that's optimal health, whether that's fat loss, or whether that's building muscle. So it'll put you at a surplus or maintenance, or it'll put you at a deficit. So we have that at our disposal, which is really powerful. And then we also have actually some registered dietitians. I have like a doctorate in nutrition.
What is it? DN, I think is that what it is?
DL.
DL.
Yep,
Yeah.
DL. DietiansLive are their name.
That's
awesome. I can give you a link to include if anybody is interested.
Yeah, by all means.
And it is a service that should 100% be covered by your insurance company, actually. So that's pretty darn cool for your health insurance. So if you've got like a preventative healthcare section in your plan, this should be 100% covered.
Okay.
And for 12 months, it's 100% covered. Like, so we've got some serious time frame to really be able to see a difference. And they are not this is not like necessarily a plug for them or anything. It's not meant to be an advertisement, but I actually think that their approach matches my approach 100%, which is why I brought them on, because it's not just like, you must meal prep every single day and, you know, like really strict and like the stuff that people are scared of. If I talk to a dietitian, that means a ton more work for me. Their approach is, how can we make the best decisions possible to see results? And sometimes that does mean cutting things out, right, that are really hindering, but they're going to meet you where you're at too, which is our philosophy to fitness. So it seems like a great fit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the only reason that I got into carnivore was because I was having a lot of health issues, and I'm still having health issues that I'm dealing with. But the big one was the diabetes. Insert Wilford Brumley diabetes.
Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah, which is preventative.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's reversible to a point.
Yes.
But the medical community is kind of starting to finally come around on that idea of it's not a chronic, lifelong event that you're screwed if you get it.
Yeah.
you can as long as you get early enough, within the first probably couple years. Don't like just not do it for 20 years and then okay, I'm gonna revert. Like you're too far gone at that point. But that was the reason why I chose carnivore and why I recommend it to most people, because most people have a lot of problems with blood sugar and insulin that they don't realize.
Yes.
That's kind of been my big mission, I guess, in a sense of that aspect of health.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll kind of start wrapping up here, but kind of a little more fun topic would be, I've been asking people what are their biggest pet peeves in the gym. For me, it's people who use like dumbbells in the squat racks. Andrew, he said just people like, particularly like groups, like usually like teenagers or young people who they're doing like a group session and they like hog a machine for forever. It's like his biggest thing. And I feel like for you as a gym owner, you would have a different perspective, and I'd be interested to hear your perspective on what just
you're going to get me in trouble with this one, so.
Don't say nothing illegal. Come on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how can I approach this tactfully? No.
With tact. Yeah, there you go. With tact.
There are a lot of like tiny little things I think that definitely can be a pet peeve. But for the most part, I just let them go. Like I don't focus on them.
Yeah.
But okay, so I'll give you examples. Like I'm just a stickler. Like my gyms are clean, and like I'm a stickler for it. Like I really like a clean space.
Right.
And so some of those are when somebody comes in with a bunch of like chalk for like lifting, and just leaves it on everything and doesn't wipe it down. That is kind of one of those like common courtesy things. So it can kind of. But at the same time, I'm not going to be passive aggressive and like leave signs up for it. Like it's our job to clean. I'm going to clean up after it, but it's just one of those like common courtesy things.
If it became a problem, you would.
Absolutely. I mean,
you'd be like, hey
man,
like
everywhere, like all the time,
Yeah.
then I'll probably approach that person and just say, do you mind?
Hey,
yes.
I'm sure you don't realize, but could you not do that, please?
Exactly. And what's so cool about this community, though, I will give them a huge shout out, is that rarely happens. And most of the community here is changed to liquid chalk, which doesn't create the powder effect of it spreading everywhere. It still allows them to be able to get the grip that they need for the lifts that they're doing. And the chalk ends up just kind of staying on the bar. It's so easy to clean up after. So. Like shout out to anybody using liquid chalk. It's a big help from a cleanliness standpoint. But then down to like the dumb stuff, like I love bringing the gym back to homeostasis, so to speak. Like weights are supposed to go in a certain spot, and like the 5 pound is supposed to go where the 5 pound and the 10 pound is supposed to, and those are always mixed up all of the time. So like those are the tiny things as just like being the head maintenance person of the facility, that can, kind of drive you crazy sometimes. But in terms of lifts, one thing that does drive me crazy is if somebody is doing like bench press, for example, and they do not put the weights in the proper like size order. I'm like, I don't even know how you do that. Like that like
OC, that like,
that, oh my gosh.
That part of me that has that like slight OCD tendency is just, please, could you please put that back? Like you know where it goes. They go in order.
Well, so not even the order of like putting it back, but the order of how they put it on the bar is what I'm talking. So like, for example,
they're like animals and they just like throw it on willy-nilly.
Just throw on whatever, right? So like the 45 is like the biggest plate. That should go, and then maybe a 25, and then a 10, and then maybe a 5.
You work your way down.
But if you stack it like the 5 goes on, and then a 45, and then maybe a 10, and then a 25, and like you're just like throwing on the weights. I was like, how do you? What's wrong with you?
I don't even do that when I'm warming up and like, you're like kind of switching around where it would just be easier to just kind of slap it on and then you're good, at least for the warm up part. I can't even.
I did create a fun, like, just to pick on, like, I actually sent this because I knew it would bother Andrew specifically. I made a video where one side was like completely all the wrong weights and the other side was just
correct.
like one big weight and it was just like all messed up. So I was trolling people on that video just because it's a pet peeve of mine for sure. I would say the only other one would be form. And it's not necessarily a pet peeve, but just more of like a concern, but I'm always watching it. I'm a big stickler for form too, and proper form.
Form is much better than weight.
Yeah.
Or more important.
More
Shouldn't say better. More important than weight.
Absolutely.
If you're doing a heavy lift wrong, you're not really getting the benefit from it that you think you are.
Yeah.
And two, you're very likely to hurt yourself.
Very likely.
In a very bad way.
Yes.
Typically, especially depending on the weight and the type of movement.
Yeah.
But do it right and then do it heavy. Don't do it heavy and then do it wrong.
Go light, get your form down, and then add to it. For
Exactly.
Sure.
All right, and then I guess we can end on a high note now that we did our kind of negative Nancy talk.
Okay.
What is the best success story that you've had from any of your members in the gym?
There are a lot. I don't know if I could pick one specifically. I would say that there's a member that does stand out that has been really inspirational. The member came in at a fairly low place in their life, and they actually came up to the door, and because you have to get in with a key fob, they pulled on the door, it wasn't open, so they turned around and started walking away. And I opened the door and kind of was like, hey, how are you doing?
Hold on.
Yeah. And they let me know later that they were like, oh crap, that means I actually have to go in.
Oh no.
And they came in and they were like, all right, fine, I'm sold. Let's start working. And they put in some serious work and really, it was life-changing the way that they describe it. And it's been really that story stands out in the weight loss journey for this individual too has been incredible. The building of the strength has been incredible, but I would say that the part for that member that stands out is the resilience. They've been through the ringer in a lot of different areas in their life, in the form of fitness, in the form of a personal life, mental state, just nutrition, habit, just all kinds of stuff has kind of come against them, and they've persevered. And that's just so cool to be able to see. So I love being able to see that and be part of that aspect of the journey. We've had other success stories of people losing a lot of weight, and dramatic transformations there. We've had people being able to put on muscle, and we had this individual that their entire goal was, I want to be able to carry my groceries. It's an older individual. I want to be able to carry my groceries from my car to my kitchen without any help. And that was their whole goal. And they came in after a little while of working with us, and they're like, guess what I was able to do? Zero help, I carried my groceries, right? So a lot of wins that might seem small to us that are huge for the individual. So I don't know if I could point out one specific one that's the biggest, but the first individual that I was mentioning really stands out as being one of probably the most inspirational stories for me to continue to keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, I would say that's probably because it's a reflection of the transformation of the whole person as opposed to just a single aspect or a couple of aspects.
You nailed it on the head. Absolutely.
That's kind of what I think. But
yeah.
Well, thanks, Chris, for having me.
Absolutely.
It's a joy. It's a pleasure. We should do this again.
You should.
Do you have any
next time we can film a workout? So.
Right. Actually, I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
Great minds. But do you have any social media or anything that you'd like to shout out?
Our Instagram's probably about it. Okay. It's Overland Park_AF is it. So, Overland Park AF.
Take
Play
that
on
what
words
you
there.
will.
Absolutely. It does stand for Anytime Fitness, but, insert what you want. And that would be about it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.